Who is Jesus Christ? A prophet? A revolutionary? The Son of God? Or simply a man caught in the turning tides of history? For over 2,000 years, the name Jesus has stirred hearts, shaken empires, and shaped the course of civilization. Billions have lived and died in his name. Entire cultures have been built around his teachings. Yet, behind the stained glass and Sunday sermons lies one of the greatest historical enigmas of all time. Did he truly exist? And if he did, what do we really know about him? Let's begin with what most scholars agree on. The man, not the myth. Jesus of Nazareth, a Jewish preacher living in Roman-occupied Palestine, born roughly between 4 and 6 BCE, executed by crucifixion under Pontius Pilate around 30 to 33 CE. But how do we know? Our earliest sources are the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, written between 30 to 70 years after Jesus' death. Critics might ask, can such sources be trusted? Were they objective accounts or theological propaganda? But consider this. Outside the Bible, independent Roman and Jewish historians also mention Jesus. Tacitus, the Roman senator and historian, writes around 116 CE of Christus, who suffered under Pontius Pilate. He called Christianity a most mischievous superstition, but his words confirm that Jesus was real, and that his death was well known. Josephus, a Jewish historian born just a few years after Jesus' death, refers to Jesus, a wise man, and describes his crucifixion and the movement that followed. Could all these references be wrong? Could an entire movement, one that would shake the foundations of Rome, be built on a man who never lived? Let's pause and ask, what made Jesus so different? He was not a military leader. He never held political office. He didn't write a single book. And yet his teachings, love your enemy, turn the other cheek, blessed are the meek, turned the social order upside down. He preached in parables, healed the sick, challenged the religious elite, and spoke with an authority that made some follow and others plot his death. But here lies the deeper question. Was he just a wise moral teacher? Or was he, as he claimed, the Son of God? Now we enter the heart of the debate, the miracles. According to the Gospels, Jesus didn't just teach. He healed the blind, walked on water, calmed storms, fed thousands with a few loaves and fishes, and even raised the dead. But is there any evidence outside the Bible for these miracles? That depends on how we define evidence. There are no Roman or Jewish documents describing his miracles. But is that surprising? Miracles, by their very nature, defy rational explanation. To record them as fact would have been anathema to official Roman historians. Yet the early Christian movement exploded across the empire. Why? Why would thousands risk persecution, imprisonment, and death for a lie? The disciples, history tells us, were scattered and terrified after the crucifixion. But within weeks, they were boldly proclaiming that Jesus had risen from the dead. They preached this message to the very people who had killed him. Many were tortured, most were martyred. Would you die for something you knew was a hoax? Could mass hallucination explain it? Could myth develop so rapidly in just a few decades? And what of the people healed in the Gospels? Were their stories later fabrications? Or did something truly extraordinary happen? Something that could not be denied? Skeptics often say the Gospels were written too late to be reliable. But were they? The Gospel of Mark is believed to be written around 65 to 70 CE, just 30 to 40 years after Jesus' death. Paul's letters, some dated as early as 50 CE, speak of Jesus as a divine figure, crucified and risen. That's just 2 decades after the crucifixion. Could a myth grow that fast? The Gospel writers reference names: Bartimaeus, Jairus' daughter, Mary Magdalene, eyewitnesses still alive when the stories were circulating. Why name names unless readers could check the facts? Isn't that how real testimony works? But what about today? In a world of science and skepticism, can we still believe in miracles? Science deals in repeatable patterns. Miracles, by definition, are rare and unrepeatable. So is it fair to demand scientific proof of a supernatural event? If God exists, and if he chose to intervene in human history, would that not be, by definition, a miracle? And if one miracle stands above all others, it is this: that a crucified Jewish carpenter from an obscure village in a backwater province would become the central figure of human history. How? Why? Is it not a miracle in itself that his name is still spoken today? So who is Jesus Christ? A man, a myth, a miracle worker, or was he something more? History confirms he lived. His followers swore he died and rose again. Billions have believed it. Millions have died for it. But what do you believe? Do you dismiss the claims of the gospel as legend? Or do you dare to wonder if the impossible might be true? Can faith be reasonable? Can history point to heaven? And in a world desperate for hope, can one man, crucified on a Roman cross, still speak across the ages? The story of Jesus Christ is not just ancient history. It's living, breathing, and still unfolding. The question is not whether he existed. The question is, who is he